Hello, hello, hello. Huh. I used to have the chat over here, and now I do not have the chat. Hmm. Gotta love when things update and you have no idea anymore. um, man, I thought it was in here too. Stats. Ah, no, not that. Drives me crazy sometimes. Let me just do that. Okay. All right. It was working perfectly fine before, and then it updated, and now I lost it again. So I have to figure out where all the buttons are. No, it's not that one. I don't remember. So I guess we will just roll forward. Um, it should be. Huh. I don't know where the heck it is. I guess I'm gonna have to do this over here. Man, there's so many buttons. All right. So obviously, you guys can tell my voice not 100% back, but feeling better. And then it like kind of went into the time zone change. So not perfect, better. But we'll see. I get Kip in the next 30 minutes or 25 minutes from now, so we'll see if he is going to be I don't know, behaved today, for lack of a better word. So I don't know, we should be okay, but we'll roll through everything we can. All right, so for today, not really a whole lot of economic-based news this morning. But there will be a monetary policy meeting notes released tonight at 8:30 for Aussie. Kind of like where the Aussie is. Um, Not a bad place, right? Um, Up top, like Aussie yen in particular, it's very, very high up on the curve as well. We're seeing the euro yen and the pound yen both spike. Aussie yen can't do it because it's sitting up in higher time frame supply. So we'll see if that really kind of affects things. The other news this morning is obviously China. We talked about this over here. Talking about they're basically locking down again, more or less. Locking down obviously leads to supply chain. Obviously, that jacks up inflation, prices of goods and services. That's standard supply and demand. And some big totals, right? 3%, 7%, 5%. Those are pretty big, right? Um, so far, the indices look like they're holding firm okay. Actually, it looks like they've all now gone into the red. So, um, yeah. So again, supply chain is not necessarily what we want to hear for the most part. And by the way, that chart I'll show it to you in a second. That was a demonstration this morning. That was not a setup. It was a guy asking about 1030 reversals. I'll show you what that one looks like in a bit too. I guess I'll do it with you guys. Most of you guys already know it though. So, um, besides that, I mean, really headlines wise, it's kind of the same headline, like 12 different ways. Um, you know, Ruble could rebound as commodity prices jump. All the commodities are down. I love this one right here, right? Coming out of New Zealand, that if Russia, if Russia gets military equipment from China, then there's going to be consequences from New Zealand. Um, I think that's pretty funny. Um, I mean, China's already said, "Hey, listen, we'll take all your wheat, we'll take a lot of your gas prices." Um, I don't know how that's not them evading sanctions, but at the same time, I don't know that New Zealand has the right to tell China. Like China doesn't acknowledge the Ukrainian scenario, right? Like they're not, they're saying that listen, this was provoked by the West. They're not taking a big stand on it. So for a country like New Zealand to be able to say, yeah, we're going to put sanctions on you, China, if you don't acknowledge it. They don't acknowledge it, and they're big enough that they can. That's their right. So I don't know. I think it's pretty funny. And now it's everything is basically they've requested military aid from China, and then then Russia's like, no, we have not requested military assistance. I don't, as big as Russia is, Russia doesn't need military assistance. Um, I guess if they wanted to buy weapons from China, they could, but they have plenty of their own weapons and military, so they don't really need to do that. I don't know. It's kind of funny little countries like this that are kind of mouthing off. Um, Todd's like, yeah, that means they must have done it. It's like, why? Because I don't know. He's like, well, if China says they didn't, and I was like, I don't know. You don't think we do propaganda? But Todd's convinced that no. If they're saying this, then they must have asked for military assistance. I'm like, I don't know. I was like, it's whatever. I was like, we play the propaganda war just like everybody else does. If you don't believe it, then you have your own tinfoil hat on there. So, it's nice to see that to try to you know, to try to make them more evil. But China's basically said they are going to take back Taiwan. So I mean, you know, um, there was an article a little while ago that came out too. I thought it was great. It was a great article, basically talking about how Russia is actually winning. because we are reactionary to Russia. Russia is dictating the pace of things, and it's actually something that the United States Air Force created. I forget what it's called. I don't have it's my phone's not near me right now. It's called like OOF or something like that. Um, it actually stands for something. Oh wait, hold on, I found it. What is it called? Oh no, this is something else. This is Zelensky talking about it. Oh no, it's called UDA, OODA. What is it called? It was created by an Air Force colonel, but it actually talks about Russia's winning. That they basically kind of, made sure that they were in the right position. They've kind of sanction proofed their economy. The ruble dropping isn't necessarily the end of the world for them, but that again, they've kind of almost proofed themselves out, and they have a strong, huge nation that is their ally. So, at the same time, we have North Korea shooting ICBMs. Okay. Todd's like, why is everybody feeling emboldened now? It's like, well, because no one's willing to militarily protect anybody else. So sanctions don't you can't sanction North Korea any more than they already sanctioned. So why would they not shoot ICBMs? We said militarily we're never going to do anything. So of course, Todd, don't be an idiot. Um, that's where we're at right now. Nope, we're not military going to go in. It's not part of NATO. Don't worry about it. So that's where we're at. Um, but I think, as far as trading goes, looking at the currencies right now to get a kind of big scheme of things, really, the yen is the only thing that we're seeing any type of weakness in right now. Euro yen up, dollar yen up. Aussie yen is trying to be up, but that's about it. So everything right now is really focused on what this is going to look like. Um, Now, tomorrow we do have FOMC starting to have their meeting. It's not listed here, but we'll have PPI tomorrow morning. But they already know what that data is. FOMC members are obviously they're allowed to have that data ahead of time. They're going to start that meeting tomorrow to figure out what the raise is going to be. Thus far, the forecast is 0.25. Now, this morning when I was dropping Reese off at the bus, they had a gentleman on that was talking about it, saying, you know, is it going to be a 0.5? Is it going to be a 1%? There's a lot of things that are on the table. Um, that supply chain conversation is going to throw kind of another little card into that hat, and we'll kind of see. I think 0.25 is not enough. I think it's going to absolutely do zero to it at all. And Yellen came out with comments on Friday. You remember her? She's supposedly an important person. She had some comments Friday talking about we're going to see price rising prices probably into next year. I was like, what? It's like, wow. So yeah, that's what she's saying. That's what she's telling people to prepare for. Rising prices into next year. Wow, that'll be an interesting midterm election. So that's what we're going to be dealing with in the next 24 hours as far as news goes and headlines. Obviously, with Asia being closed right now, we probably won't see much more out of it. They're having a Zoom call. Ukraine and Russia going to have a Zoom call. They didn't get anything done in person, so I don't know if a Zoom call is going to work today. But we'll kind of see what we got going on in the market. So let's start off with the Aussie. As you can see, Aussie dollar, and again, this is on the 15-minute. We're starting to see it kind of, be down. It's pushing down to levels, right? We had talked about a Harry Potter trade down here, a break of 72.42. In the overnight is really kind of when, we typically like to not do these and not use these for gaps. Typically, we remove these a lot of times until we see a new kind of basing into the next week, and that's kind of what we got. We ended really here was where we ended the week, and we kind of did this little fake up and pull back, and we're kind of sitting on that line right now. Again, U.S. market not open. 2 o'clock in the morning, Europeans were kind of in there. You don't really have a good base for it, but it was one of those things we were looking for a short to push down into the 72 area. I think that's still on the in the cards. You know, there was a level formed obviously here in the overnight that you can see there was an easy top on there. Not really. I mean, I guess you really could you could try to say that was a double top, but it's not really. It was kind of because of this pattern here. It kind of screwed it up for a lot of people, but in reality, technically it was. Um, but I think this goes lower. I'd like to see where it drives. I'd like to see how much strength we can get in the dollar today to drive the Aussie down. With this monetary policy meeting notes today, there's obviously no rate changes associated with it, but but there will be obviously some language about when they could potentially be raising, and that's just as good as the actual rate changing itself. So that's kind of what I'm looking for. I'm looking for it to kind of give us a nice little bottom today. Dollar right now is kind of sandwiched. I mean, yeah, should it have bounced from here? Yeah, absolutely. Right, that's absolutely a bounce level, and it did. But now it's kind of sitting right in the middle. So, you know, we'll see. I think it's I think the Aussie dollar is a decent, decent setup. Obviously short still with the dollar strength coming in. I like it being this negative. I think going into monetary policy, mentioning that there's going to be a rate change, could give us a near-term bounce. Aussie dollar wise, I would like to be short the Aussie dollar before the rate change. Like I said, 0.25 is factored in. If they just do 0.25, that's what's factored in right now. There shouldn't be too much of a change. It is a rise, if anything, going to give us a little dollar strength. The market obviously probably wants more, but I think right now, the way that they've kind of prefaced it, it's going to be a 0.25. If it comes in as a zero point 0.5, which I think it is what it should be, that would be massive dollar strength coming in because the market hasn't prepared for it. That would also drive this down. So in reality, I'd like to see a little bounce tonight with the monetary policy, and then on Wednesday take this short. It's just about finding where we're going to get it short on Wednesday. Now, Aussie yen. I mentioned the Aussie yen was already high, bouncing off those levels. We talked about this week. The 85 was actually an alert. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Yeah, that one actually, I guess that one triggered the other day, so we didn't reestablish it. Um, that one hit, I guess, would have been hit. It should have triggered a second time, and I don't think it did. Yeah, it should have triggered. Actually, both these should have been triggers. All right, it was the Aussie. I was like, I knew we had an Aussie one come through. I knew there was definitely an Aussie one that came through. But it was Aussie dollar, not Aussie yen. Although that one should have triggered. I don't know why that one didn't trigger at 85.80. I'll have to check on that one. It did last week. It did last week, but that one it did not. Um, hmm, there should have been one on there. I don't know. I'll have to check that one out. Like I said, this is what happens when you're sick and you miss things. But yeah, so like this one down. I'd like to find where to get long this one later on today too. You can see it sitting right here. That's a home index. What time is it tonight? 10? All right, 8:30. Let's see. So right in here. Let's put a kicker in that one. Um, right there. So it is the same one. Why did it give me home index? There's more there than that. I'd like to see where we are, when at this level. There's a few different areas. There's obviously one standing right here as well. It's been kind of tested, although it's been hit 3 times. So there is one there. If we go a little bit lower, you guys can see that over in this area, there's a few different levels here, right? There's buyers that stepped in here. There's buyers that stepped in here. There's buyers that stepped in here. And then there's one all the way down here, right? Right around this old 50% level that we had talked about before. Problem with this one, right? This is that 50%. This was a trigger on the 8th. Yeah. This was one of the alerts on the 8th. I didn't take a picture of it because that's when I was sick. Um, this was an alert. Yeah, this was the 50% fib alert from before. I don't think we can get that far down today. That would be 70 pips. That'd be quite a runner in such a short time. Now, again, if the yen does start to turn around and really get some strength back again, which I think it absolutely could, it could start to move, but that's a lot to go in one day. So I'm kind of thinking probably more in the 30-ish range. Probably, yeah, 36 range brings us over in here. I think that's probably more of an area where we'd be looking to go a little bit long from. So we'll see what it's able to do. Right now, I mean, again, we're kind of wedged in. Do I want to take it do I want to take another long off this area? I'd be cautious with it. I mean, it had a nice pop here, but again, ground hit here, ground through, opened the U.S. market here. Again, any type of basing in here could be short. There's not really a nice runner to the downside, but is it a level we could use? I guess. But we got so much, we have 12 hours to go, 11 hours to go. So I doubt it's just going to go sideways from here and then drop down. So we'll see. Euro pound. So euro pound had a nice pop up. We talked about having 2 different levels up here. We had this nice little news spike last week. And again, this actually should have been adjusted higher. I didn't look at this one last week. You guys know when I'm sick, I don't trade, but missed the top of it. Let's make some adjustments on this one. We can actually adjust this higher. We're going to go all the way up, and that puts a nice little level in. You can see we had that dotted line too. So it puts it to the 50% fib retracement level at an interesting spot. Now, again, it's arguable whether we are able to use it because you can say, well, wait a second, we kind of pulled back and then did some more. It's like, yeah, but in the grand scheme of things, novice traders are going to look at this and say, well, there's my bottom, there's my top. And magically, look at that. We had that nice little pop off that level. So that's going to be one we want to watch out for. Is it the best? Is it the best kind of long area? No, but there is a bit of a racetrack in here. I would say that there's probably a short position coming in, probably here, right? This thing, it's so funny. It hates when it goes out the top. With a 1 to 3 sitting right about there. So I'd say again, nice little racetrack in here. The profit target is kind of right where it should be. Again, as this is riding back down again to that 83.20 level, is how I would kind of set this one up. And actually, I guess we can let's pull that. Yes, I know that it was a level. Let's horizontal rate this bad boy because this will be an easy one. There'll be a little bit of a trap here. Um, let's do Harry Potter short into 50%. There we go. We're on for that one. All right. Oh, by the way, as far as alerts go, I will be locking that channel back down this week. I've gotten. I think we've had it open now for I don't know 2 weeks, 2 weeks, 3 weeks. Really just for testing purposes. And again, I had to go back and check why that the Aussie yen one didn't pop. I know the Aussie dollar did pop. That one did pop. Yeah, it was this one down here. So it is working, but I am going to lock the channel down and make some improvements to it, and that'll be something. Is it an official signal service? No, not really, but it's going to be close enough to one that I'm gonna launch. And then again, obviously behind the scenes, it's going to be basically everything that's set in here, and then obviously offline alerts that I'm setting as well. But I really wanted to just, before I dumped a bunch of time and energy into it, I wanted to make sure that the technology was working well enough on the alerts to make sure that they were going through. I didn't want to. It's the one problem. I had another system that I tested, and it worked great for a couple days, and then it died on me. So I was doing a bunch of work, and nothing was going through to the test channel. So, but you guys are able to see kind of again now it's it's working. That it is sending alerts through and it's obviously set correctly. So, got to tweak some more things with it, but that'll be something we release is basically chart school and additional levels afterwards. It won't be a signal service, but it'll be an alert for Harry Potter's, um, really Harry Potter's halfway backs, and then obviously reversals. So there'll be no news based trading inside of it. All right. Euro yen. And really, the reason why is because I get messages all the time about signals, and I'm like, yeah, I don't really want to do a signal service, but I don't mind putting these alerts on there that I use anyway. So it's more of like an alert service, not a signal service, right? There'll be ones that I do put the stop entry and targets on there, but I don't think I'm gonna go. I think it's more going to be like, listen, here's the zone. You determine where you want your stop loss or where your profit target to be. All right, so euro yen. So euro yen, pretty interesting. We had a couple levels drawn last week that we were talking about. As you can see here, we had the 1, 2, 3, and 4 crash through, right? Same thing here. We had 1, 2. There was our 3 hit, and again, nice little pullback from that one. Really late last night. And then again, number 4 is what broke through. It's up there now, and it's messing with kind of these areas. I'm not really concerned with these. I mean, yeah, it started to pull back, but these are a little bit. I'd much rather get the clean one. So right now, I'm still going to hold this kind of top section. I don't need the fib anymore because we're kind of pushed all the way in the top, all the way to that back area. I don't need this one too. We had this. This was a profitable one last week. We'll continue that across. Let's run top bottom. There's a little area there, but I'm not concerned necessarily about it. I think this one, if it goes all the way up, then I'm more interested. If we go up to the 130, then I'll be interested in this level right now. But for right now, I'm not as concerned about the 50. Small zone there, but nothing big. So we will. I'm going to pull that to here. I guess we'll put it to there, so we know where we were. Right there. Yeah, not much different on this one. Look, we're looking for a base up top. Looking for that to pull down. Let me see. I don't think that is. Ooh, I should have deleted that one. I'm gonna leave that one on there. This profit target's out. Let's do a larger time frame pull. Yeah, you can see that it had a little bit of problems with the 50 there. It's kind of a 681. Nope. All right, so we're good with that. All right. So yeah, not much difference on euro yen. 130, really 131. That's 130.94. And again, decent base, very, very strong push off of that. And then again, there's a little bit of a level above. So any type of basing up there wouldn't be bad. All right. Euro dollar. So euro dollar, we got that spike last week. Let's pull this off now, so not everybody's confused. We don't need that. We missed the alert here. This was a near miss on Thursday. I missed that one by 6. um, hmm. We got the 108. It's okay. I don't like a lot of the popping in here. Hmm. Hold on one sec. All right. I think right now I'm still going to use that same level through. I don't know that I want to take a reversal off this now. I think I may still use that pop going through. Part of what I don't like about the euro dollar right now is there's not. It's got a kind. It's got some funky candles in it. I think. Let's see. Let's pull this all the way up. Hmm. Yeah, you can see this is where we pulled that 111.29 out of. It's basically where the tested area of the 50% is. Um, there's a basing a little test in there. So let's pull some of these off the back. Um, I really don't even like the bottom there. I don't, just not a fan of that bottom there. Um, yeah, I mean, it's an alright base, but I mean, again, it was a very, very fast pop in. There's really no basing there. We know that this black area down here was based off 4-hour levels. Actually, they were daily zones. So, you know, uh, it's a rough one because I'd love to say, hey, listen, this is a great short. The dollar is going to explode higher. But again, the euro's in a kind of an interesting spot as well. I just don't really have any setups that I really like on this one besides really coming back up. Ideally, I mean, if we could run from here up, right? If we could run from here up before Wednesday, that would be awesome. I think that would be great. I'd love to get short this euro dollar before the news comes out, but right now it's like, eh, right? Kind of smack in the middle. There's not really any great zones. You can make an argument and say, well, wait a second, there's a pop. And yeah, there was a pop there, but you know, we came down and touched it really in the overnight and it's really done nothing. It's kind of just stabilizing. I wouldn't say that this one has a lot of conviction one way or the other. I think this one is just kind of like in the ebbs and flow of, okay, well, where are we? You know, what are we going to do? Because remember, both Euro and China are both really on the hook. I'm sorry, the US and Europe are both really on the hook if we have supply chain disruptions. And actually, it's funny. You look over here and it says the yen falls the new 5-year lows. COVID-19 hurts the, China's yuan. So they're obviously mentioning it, kind of a problem. So yeah, not really anything great on euro dollar. And again, there's not going to be a setup on everything. Here's the pound yen. So we talked about the pound yen last week, and again, there were small levels in here when we talked about it on this lower time frame. You can see it kind of got front run. It kind of got front run. It came up and it started to stabilize in there, right? And it started to use it, but it wasn't really a long target. It went up and it grabbed the 50, and that's kind of where it's at right now. Is it's floating around this 50% level. Uh, we were talking about this being a target at 153, not necessarily a short, and it kind of faked you out twice before hitting. So um, we can take it out now. The target has been hit. Um, yeah, I mean, I'd say that this is probably not a bad short. Really, it's been nothing but yen weakness, yen weakness, yen weakness, and again, there will be some profit taking coming in. So is it the best zone? I don't know. I mean, it's a 50% retracement. You can see that there's really the basing level for the green candle is right there. And again, it's hit it a few times, and that's what we've ran off of. So we're kind of at that area right now. I mean, there may be something there if you guys are, looking for something. If this pulls back just a little bit for you, it's 1 to 3 is right there, which is exactly where the profit target should be. The profit target should be sitting actually right there. There's the top of your red candle behind the explosion. So it makes sense. Um, did this one go? It did. Okay, it did hit your 1 to 3. I was like, God, I hope so. Let's pull those out now. Let's pull these off from last week. Trying to see. I'm gonna leave that on there for the 50, but I'm curious to see where these guys are going to be looking. There is a little base in there. Hmm. That's what I was looking for. Yep. All right. So this one may have a little bit of a problem getting through this 23.6. People are going to take the near term stuff. They're going to look at this and say, well, wait a second, this was a trend reversal. This is where the start of the trend happened. It's like, yeah, you could take it from there. You could really take it from either one. This is the basic one. This is the one that's a little bit more advanced, right? But your basic one, your 50 is coming up right here around this little hiccup, which is understandable, right? If we move it forward after there's a kind of a new trend established, the 50 is still kind of, again, sitting at a bit of a hiccup right there, which is fine. And really what I was looking for was the 23.6, right? The 23.6 is going to be the pullback for people to go long. They're going to look at it and it's right around profit target time. Here it's a little bit, it's again, it's where there's a hiccup and I'm wondering if that's where this is going to get stuck to the downside. It's probably a decent trade either way. Like I said, you'll be up. I mean, you're up 60 when you get to that level. So just, it's amazing how much bigger the swings are with the pound yen. So, but yeah, like I said, you're in that profit taking time right now for the euro yen. And again, we've had such yen weakness, it really makes a lot of sense. All right, so pound dollar. All right, so pound dollar, we were looking for some pullbacks. This one has continued to drive lower. Let's drop it up to a 4 hour and kind of update our larger time frame stuff. We've pushed lower now. We've gone over the weekend. Yeah, you can see we're still waiting for this to come all the way down. This is what we're looking for. And again, I'll just leave it there because that's kind of what the ultimate goal is right now. And again, we had our hits through. It didn't really give us a Harry Potter, but it ended up going over that was from last week. Let's pull these off now. We don't need these anymore. 1, 2, 3, 4. We don't need that. Really, that's our best test right there. But we're so far away from it right now. Oops. Yeah, we're 190 from that right now. I do like this one. I don't know when this one's going to hit, but I do like the way that base thing kind of touched and then accelerated off. Thing I like about that one is if we do come down and grab this level, which is our overall downside target at 128.48, you can see how that 50 just kind of bisects right through the middle of it. So that's going to be one. It's going to be a while before that one hits. But we're going to throw an alert on that one. That would be 4 hour, 50% fib. Okay. I don't really like any of the levels in here either. Again, very, very choppy back and forth. No real clean, easy to see. I would say, what do we got lower? Let me put a horizontal line here. All right, so there was a little hiccup right there. Let's make that a 2. So there was a hiccup right there. Probably the next one is sitting right. It's not the cleanest area, unfortunately. I'm gonna put it down to there. All right, let's see. And that's what we went off of. Um, we may have a short trade in here. 62. Let's see if we can get enough in here. Yeah, we got enough room for a Harry Potter. Yeah, if we get if we can get a confirmation entry in that one, if we can get some basing again, this is hit. It's already hit before, but again, we have 1 and 2 here. We have one more that comes down 3, and we start to base through. That could be a decent little runner on that one. Get that little confirmation and push to the downside. Uh, let's see, that would be a break of the 130 level. And again, that's not a bad 130 is not a bad break to the downside. You'd have overall profit targets down here. Kip's making all kinds of noise. He's going to come in. This is going to be interesting. Again, 60 pip run into the downside. Nice little break of 130 down to 129.40. Not bad. Again, we need to come down, and again, that coincides with continued dollar strength, raising the interest rates, going from 0.25 to point 0.5. Maybe even going to 0.75. I think those are all valid. Dollar CAD. All right, so dollar CAD, we talked about having a Harry Potter here. We needed a confirmation. You see, we got it on the 11th, and then it pushed all the way down. And since that time, it came back up and grabbed the same level. Not too much, kind of expected all of this. We had great data on Friday, and just retraced. So this Harry Potter is officially out. Again, we got the entry here. Again, we came back up and grabbed the same level again, and now it's kind of down a little bit. Let's pull these off. Our profit target did get hit, so we're going to pull those profit targets off. Two. God, I hate that there's a base right below that. All right, so let's throw some retracements on here. Let's go top to bottom. Yeah, there's a little one there at the 50. Not concerned about that as much. Let's see if this is popping up anything big. Not really. It sliced right through the 50. There's nothing. Yeah, there was nothing over there either. 1, 2. I'd like for this to go a little bit. 1, 2. Was that a 70? No, it's not. It's right on the 61. Yeah, I'd like to see this one move a bit more. I'd like to. It's got to establish a new level for me. I mean, there's the obvious. There's obviously a lot of basing and stuff going on right here. Some touching. It's hit it a few times. So it's one of those levels where I'm like, we've technically had our 3 hits. I mean, it had a good reaction here. It kind of based and then took a nice shot down. It's all right. And again, the lower level here, it's already kind of pushed this zone to the brink. And actually, this should be a little bit right there. A little bit lower. Kind of got front run here, so that could be a potential as well. But right now, we're kind of sitting right in the middle of that range with no real kind of true data today. I think we have CAD data tomorrow morning. Or is that Wednesday? Tomorrow's PPI, which will move it a bit, and then the CAD data is Wednesday morning. Yeah, I'd kind of like to see this go up or down. I mean, I think right now there could be a case made that if we get over here, 128.30, we kind of see if we're going to get some basing. If it looks like we've kind of kind of gets into that like quote. I mean, I hate using this word, but quote overbought, right? I don't know if Brian could see his chart yet, but I was wondering what he means by hiccup. A hiccup is just kind of like instead of like smooth sailing on the downside, it kind of bumps into something. Carol. Yeah, I'm behind there because I don't have the normal program that I use. It's not on the side anymore. Normally in the broadcaster that I use, it's on the right hand side, but when it upgraded, it took it out, so it's in like a different window somewhere else that I can't see. So, well, I can see it, but it's not the other one. It's very easy for me to see. It's close to view. This one is like it's blue and it's hidden somewhere else, so it's difficult to see. Yeah. So, but that's what I mean by hiccup. A hiccup just means that it's I'll say like a pothole or a hiccup. It just means that it's not smooth sailing. Smooth sailing mean that there's nothing here. There's no hiccups here. But if you go to here, like this, smooth sailing. There's no sellers in here, right? Versus this is a hiccup. This is a hiccup. Because these are areas where there's sellers that have stepped in. Does that make sense? So for price to go from here, say for price to go from here, if price is down here, for price to go here up, it's got to hit this. It's got to hit this sellers, and it's got to hit these sellers, right? But for the price to go from here up, it didn't have anything. So push forward and push forward and push forward. There was no like major areas that I was worried about. So hopefully that explains it. But all right, so yeah, so I'm looking for really one of these 2 levels to be hit before really focus on much of a trade. 128.30, 126.92. Okay. Dollar Swiss. So dollar Swiss is driving high. We were calling for this one to be long last week. It ended up giving us the pop off the news event. It didn't get all the way down to where we wanted, which is fine. We didn't know, we were projecting this all the way over here, saying, "Listen, we would love for it to come all the way down." It didn't, but I mean, it was sitting inside of a basing level, right? I mean, this is an area that we had basing coming through, right? And that's kind of where news pulled back to right ahead of time. So it's same basic concept, right? We were looking for the push and we got it, right? It just didn't do it to the level we wanted. We had to use a closer time frame level. So let's kind of pull. Whoops, I didn't want to pull that all the way across. Just give me the top. Yeah, see that same level happens to be where the 50 is now. So um, there's our old level from last week, 93.57. I don't think this is out. I'm pretty sure that's not a 1 to 3. Nope, 1 to 3 is right there. So got close. Again, if you guys are in this one, it's actually not in that far proximity. If you were attending last week, though, we've talked about this 91.57 for quite a while now. So, um, yeah, it's been on there. Had a nice pop, man. It made it all the way to what? 1 to 2.6. Yeah, 2.5. 2.5 before that one kind of retraced. And it did it at 5:30 in the morning. So again, that European reversal time frame. Yeah, I mean, there's kind of already a trade initiated on this one, so not much to say. This was a trade from last week that we were talking about reversing through. Dollar yen. Come on, dollar yen. All right, so dollar yen. We've seen yen weakness. Obviously, China locking down. That's obviously hurting the yen a lot today. This one's continuing to drive higher. We talked about this 117 level. I think this is. Did we pull this off a 4 hour? I want to say that we did. Um, Here's our news. We were talking about a big push from news. And I can't see anything in here. Let's go to daily. That's where we are currently. All right. So, yeah. So, this is where we talked about having sellers in the past, right? I'm on a daily chart, though. So, I mean, there is our daily zone, right? That's kind of what we're sitting in right now, right? It's been a nice push forward. And again, this is really everything that we're hearing today, news wise. I'd say this is probably due for a little bit of a pullback, but again, I mean, I can't see far enough back. It's been so long on a daily. Um, it's been a long time. I would wait for like a good clean top in this one. It's a bit extended, right? I mean, 118 is not, it's not anything to scoff at. Um, I do think this right now, with obviously if China locks down any other provinces, that's going to give us even more yen weakness. At the same time, with the U.S. having PPI tomorrow, and the FOMC notes and raising on Wednesday, again, I think that this one has the ability to go higher. Even though we're sitting inside of a daily zone right now, I think whenever we can get pullbacks, I think we continue to do this. I do think it will pull back slightly today, but I think overall, again, this is another one of those ones you just want to stay long right now based off of, again, news out of China, news with the dollar raising, dollar strength coming in. Dollar strength should, give us some, weak equities, right? And when we see weak equities, again, we tend to see the yen weakness follow it. So again, we're at 118. It's been a while since. I mean, really, let's see. Actually, how long has it been? Oops, no, not the range. I want to do it off the day. Um, 2016, right? The last time we were here was 2016. Crazy, crazy. Hello, buddy. All right, so I now have Kip, so we'll see if he's going to be good or going to be crazy today. What? What? He's just looking at me right now. Melissa brought him in his bouncy chair, so he's in his gear. Um, All right. So other things I want to mention real quick with this as well. We're seeing kind of Bitcoin bounce around back to where it was kind of stabilizing last week. So again, currency wise, it's a little bit risk on, but again, the overall standardized forex currencies are not. I wouldn't say any of them are crazy trending minus the yen right now. Bitcoin's coming kind of back in. Ethereum's also, it looks identical. It's coming right back to the same basing level. And then again, Dogecoin, little obviously whipsaw of this one's a little bit on the downside. TLT money wise is obviously down, so it's kind of showing us a little bit risk on, um, more than anything else. But we're not really seeing it. The dollar's actually down. It's stuck in there. Um, VIX is kind of just holding firm. It's VIX is kind of lost. So let's talk about oil next. So oil continuing to drop, and again, I do think there should have been a little bit. Let's see, the 9:30 candle is right here. Eh, I think we've probably the problem with this one is the only kind of. I mean, we're kind of at a level right now, right? Kind of a little bit of a base, but we talked about having this really kind of downside target of 98.74 is really kind of where we were looking for price to go last week. We're pretty close to it, and I think we probably have the ability to hit it today. Problem with this is, again, as soon as we start talking about locking down, it's like, oh my God, we're at that stage again. We're going to lock down. It starts with lower demand. Believe it or not, China actually does play a pretty significant role in the demand of oil. You wouldn't assume that they don't, but they actually do. Again, they do have a bunch of control about it. Um, it's one of those things that Russia keeps their own oil; they don't buy it from anybody else. China buys it from other people, but China owns a lot of the Middle Eastern companies now, oil companies. They went on like a mat like China's kind of doing it right. Um, they're buying oil companies and then buying rare earth companies as well. How do they kind of see kind of where the future is? Um, So yeah, I think this finds a bottom. Again, we're question is, do we get down to that 98 today? Can we break? Again, we're at 177. Do we break 100 today? Probably. I think it's probably on the cards. Are we over with this right now? I don't know. I mean, all talk is about lowering these prices down, but reality is, Russia has the ability to jack this whenever they want by just limiting supply to Europe. So you know, I think at this point we try to find a nice little bottom on there. We don't really have it right now. You can see that we pulled back down. Interesting though, if we do use this $100 mark, you can see that the last time we had a bit of a pullback, magically becomes the 50, and that gives us some testing in here. And that old level of 117.98 that we're talking about, it becomes a 61.8. So kind of an interesting spot. But anyway, I think we hit 98, 74. Would I just get short right now? Probably not. If it reverses today, a little bit of profit taking coming in, would that surprise me? No, not really. But right now I would say, yeah, look for the profit target to be hit, and then we can look for some reversals. But I do think the price pops again. I'm a bit more of a bear right now in oil. Not that I like it this high, but you know what's funny? This is what's hysterical. The 8th, we were at 130, right? Now we're at $100. Does anybody think their gas prices this week are at the pump are going to go down? Just wondering, right? Right? If you guys feel that our gas prices are good, type it in chat. Like, what do you think? Do you think gas prices will go down this week or go up this week? Even though you guys are able to look at this chart, and in the last 7 days, we've lost $30 per barrel in the last week. Will our gas prices go down? I know my gas price has gone up 30 cents in the last week. Will it go down next week 30 cents, right? Will we go back into that the mid, $3 mark? Yes, the oil companies are growing conscience. Briggs, they have a conscience. It's just not a good one. Natural gas is also down. So, yeah, again, natural gas. The problem with natural gas right now is it's more of a seasonal thing. I know it was cold as anything yesterday. We were supposed to have the boys were supposed to have a scrimmage. We had snow. We got like these blizzard conditions, and I canceled the scrimmage because we had snow over the fields. Even though by the afternoon it started to really melt off. Now I was kind of like I was regretting it. But seasonally, we are getting to March, so we will start to see this one kind of have more issues going to the downside. It's kind of the same scenario, right? Nothing really has changed in the Ukraine. Russia hasn't cut us off, and that's why we're seeing the destruction. And really, all the commodities right now. Again, gold and silver also going down. Oil down, 8%. It's a big jump, right? But after last week, after $30 rise in a week, it can drop $30 in a week, and it's not the end of the world. So natural gas, again, had a bit of a gap. It retested the gap, right? We had the gap in here from Friday till today. We dropped down at about 5:30 this morning. The European market did what? Turn and rolled it back up again. So, it is down. You're like, oh my God, that's horrible. Yeah, it was down in the overnight, and then the Europeans, the reversal kind of turned it and reversed it back. I think watching this one bounce off of, 448 is I think what we're looking for. Um, Not bad. I'm kind of waiting for natural gas to really drop. Like I'm hoping that they come to terms in the Ukraine in the next like 30 days. And I think that they will. I think we'll have some type of an outcome of it. Um, whether it's positive or negative, just some type of an outcome where the fighting stops. I think like 2.5 million people have left. I think at this point, I think it's like, let's create a terror campaign. Everybody will just leave and then we can just take it over. Um, I think that something comes of it all. I think if they do that, I think natural gas is going to be in a really bad position. I think natural gas really takes a big drop. Um, so we're kind of getting to that stage. I'm kind of looking, waiting for that one. Remember, natural gas is not. It doesn't have the same potential as oil. Like oil is used all year, and it's actually, you know, we actually use more of it in the summertime, and we're getting ready to roll back into the summer, especially after COVID. Everybody wants to like go places now. Natural gas is one of those ones. It's more of like a fall slash winter type scenario. If you think about it, as we start the globe changes when the northern hemisphere starts to roll back into the hot months. Yes, obviously it's a cooking fuel, but again, not as high a demand. Okay. Um, so I do think that natural gas will start to roll, and I think raising interest rates and things like that will affect natural gas a bit too. So again, for me, I like oil. I think oil. When I say I like oil, I don't like gas prices. I think oil has the ability to pop a bit higher. I think if China all of a sudden says, "Hey, you know what?" Are saying, we're lifting these things. I think oil pops again. Natural gas, I think, has more of an ability to drop down. So I'm kind of looking. I'm kind of bullish oil, bearish natural gas, obviously bearish gold. Looking for this one to continue to go lower and lower and lower. Um, Again, next area I'm really looking for this one to bounce off of is going to be all the way down here at 119.38. Um, we can remove these. I was really just looking for more entries. Do I have a better entry right now? There could be a 23.6 entry there. Yeah, we could slide this down. There could be an entry here. Definitely bearish gold, and I talked about this all week last week that was bearish gold. Again, with rising interest rates, um, yeah, yeah. The way Todd explained it is that it will cost you money to have gold. Um, I guess, kind of, but it's more that there's not when you have like gold is gold holds purchasing power is really why it's quote a hedge for inflation. Um, Gold is not really an investment. If you guys have ever looked this up, I've talked about this in the past. Um, Really, if you look to see what gold could purchase, right? If they did it with a Roman soldier, right? Because they could actually, there's like actual records of how much they actually made. And you take, I forget what it is, but like an officer in the Roman day or in the Roman army versus an officer right now in the dollar. Gold, basically, when you change it for inflation, it hasn't changed at all. So it's a holder of value. But when you're in a rising interest rate environment and you're trying to crush down prices, it's moving in the opposite direction. Like you don't want something that could have bought you X there, but if it buys you less later, that's not what you want. So it's not that it's costing you; it's just it's a price protection tool more than anything else. Um, and again, we all know we're trying to crush inflation right now. So again, bearish gold. Um, Not really looking for really long opportunities until 1938. But if we do have a pullback, if there is something that comes in this one, again, now based off of where this low is, if we do get any type of rally up, especially from now till Wednesday, 1974 could be a nice little short in this one in gold if you guys are looking for something. Um, Again, it coincides with the basing area, nice little pop, and then it's also the 23.6, so a decent little kind of pullback there, right? Silver, okay. Silver had an area that we were looking for, but again, we're looking for a short out of this area. That's why it's red. We had our one, we had our two, we had our three, we had our four touches, and it actually gave us a fifth, and then did what? Came through base, and now it's continuing to drop. Looking for silver to go lower. I think silver is, I don't know. I'm kind of wondering. We're at 25.13. Do I say it? Do I say we get back to 24 by the end of the week? Oof, I really want to. I really want to. And we had this kind of like Harry Potter little basing level right here. And again, we just hit it again. So it's like, oh, look at that. 1, 2. You could argue that this is three, but if not, one and two, and then yeah, we had three right here. It's kind of set up. Like I want to say it, but at the same time, and again, I know some of you out there, particularly neuro. It's like, please go to 24. Go lower, go lower. Um, and remember, guys, for the right price, I will give you Neuro's home address. Gold and silver does not cost Neuro anything. He puts it under his bed. So oil is needed for making precious. We use a lot. Actually, Briggs, plastic is a dirty word, buddy. Are you kidding? I can't get a plastic bag in Maryland anymore. I can, but I get charged for it now. They want you. They're like, hey, you should recycle. You should bring your own bag. If not, we're going to charge you for it. What, Nora? What was that? Wait, what? I mean, I can be bought right for the right price. Yeah, oil's a dirty word, but we can't live without oil. We can live without plastic bags. Yeah, yeah. Plastic is one of those things, and I don't think. And correct me if I'm wrong, man. You would probably know this, right? Because you have some friends in like agriculture, right? There's the biodegradable plastic now, right? That like within like 2 years disappears or whatever, like the spoons and all that stuff. I believe that that's plant based, right? I don't believe that that is actual like any. It's not it's not actually plastic, right? It's plant material, right? You're guaranteed a trip to a place with a musical key. Get all that gold and silver, right? Yeah, I believe that all like the new biodegradable plastic. I believe that those are like I forget what they're made out of. I think they're like I don't want to say soy. Like you can't eat them, but I think that's what they are. Anyway, yes. But yeah, I want to say silver down to 24 should be interesting. So indices wise, and again, VIX is. I mentioned this earlier that yes, the VIX is technically considered higher from where it closed. But again, it was it was a little bit higher, and it's starting to kind of dwindle. And I expected this to kind of evaporate rather fast. Yeah, Briggs, it is. I think it. I want to say that it's like soy based, but I don't know. Yeah, I feel like it has to. I mean, I'm sure it's biodegradable, but God knows if it's in creating it. You know what, Briggs? I'm sure this is probably what it is. Yes, it can completely biodegrade in 2 years, but how much pollution did we create when we made those spoons? Right? How much pollution did it take, did we produce making the spoons just so they can evaporate later? That's the big question, right? Um, all right, so ES. All right. ES will drop it down to 15 minutes. So in the ES calculation, this is what we kind of talked about. So this diagram, we it wasn't really necessarily a trade setup, even though it is going in that direction right now. You can see here the opening print again, getting long from that opening print. It needed to go a little bit farther. So basically, we were talking about 1030 reversals, what they look like. A person asked it, and I think they were talking about. Well, first off, they wanted to know what time zone the reversals happened in. And just so you guys know, I mean, the only time zone that really matters is Eastern. I know that offends some people, but I mean, the stock market opens at 9:30 Eastern, right? Um, Nobody talks about Central Time at all when it talks about business. I know that yeah, futures and options and everything is Chicago, but everything is those are futures contracts and options contracts based off of what the New York Stock Exchange. So yeah, it's everything is based off of East Coast. All right, so it was an interesting question. He must not have been an East Coaster because everybody knows that Chicago is not the center of the financial capital of the world. It is New York. Um, they talk about London time. They talk about New York time. No one ever mentions Central time or Chicago time. Yeah. Anyway, we're kind of getting up there. It'd be nice if we get a little bit higher. We do have kind of some basing up there, and we talked about, again, this is a decent pullback. Actually, the 930 candle gave us an interesting open, and it kind of, this is, I talked about what the Globex high and low traps look like, and again, if you would have used saying, well, that's the Globex one, but this is the Friday close, that's a pretty simple trap. And again, you guys have to be kind of wary of these things. Why is Bitcoin risk on? It's risk on because it's considered a speculation based asset. Um, Something like the dollar, you can hold the dollar, you can invest in the dollar. You can't really invest in Bitcoin, it's pure speculation. You make zero holding it, right? There's not like a dividend that comes from it. You can't, turn it in for, I mean, it's basically just a tradable asset, is all it is. It's a speculation area. So anything that has a lot of speculation in it tends to be considered a risk asset, right? So that's why it's considered like a risk on type trade. And again, after all it getting beat up last week, it was kind of due to go up again, right? So you will tend to see bonds go down, right? Because again, people aren't necessarily into them. And risk on is considered stock market, right? Bitcoin, things like that. Bonds, they go the opposite direction. Risk on is bonds down. Risk off is bonds up because you're going that flight to safety, right? So this is a perfect example. You have dollar down, right? And you have equities up. and you have VIX down. Equities up, right? Commodities tend to be a little bit more risk, but again, this is more of again, this is COVID. This is more pandemic type based. Um, you know, this is again, not a typical thing, but in reality, again, nice little trap right here. This would have been a nice little support and resistance trap today. Um, again, kind of a riskier level. It had been hit a few times. It pulled back for the open, and again, probably stopped some people out. They're like, "Yeah, I'm going to go long," and it stopped them out, and then ended up pushing. But I do think we're probably in a bit of a reversal. I wouldn't say that any of the indices are blowing it out of the water right now, and really, it's a very, very hard place for them to go higher. Reason why is because we know we're going to raise an interest rate in 2 days. How much is it going to affect the market? Is it already baked into the market? Great. That's all one kind of equation. The other equation is, oh crap, are we going to have supply chain shortages because China's shutting down again? Because that also has the potential to hurt the overall indices if we can't get things. So, yeah, there's that. You know, um, I think it's a very interesting combination: supply chain shortages and rising interest rates. So, yeah. But wouldn't be surprised if this pulls back down and wants to play around with 4,200 for the rest of the day. NQ, we talked about NQ. As you can see, this one pulled up very, very fast. If I pull it down, you can see that there's your 930 candle. It pulled down, and it wasn't an ideal, scenario. We talked about this kind of Harry Potter area, right? Hit, came down and base. Then again, this was over the weekend, so they kind of reset. But it hit it again, it hit it again, and it hit it again. The same level of basing. If you wanted to take it just in the overnight session, again, you would have bracketed this one off from here down to there. And you can see that's what we just bounced off of at 10:15. So again, this is kind of set up for that reversal level. And again, NQ was the weakest. Now it's Russell, right? So you guys could be short in this trade right now. And let's see, how far do we need to move? 1 to 3 is right there. Look at that, perfect. Look at that. The target is right where the trap is going to be for the support and resistance traders. So it's right there. Again, already a little bit late in. You're already over 1-to-1 in that trade. YM. So YM was kind of jumping back. Again, here's that gap that we talked about. 930 candle came all the way down, slammed into that one. This one is probably out to the top side. This would have been obviously an opening base trade because we had plenty of room for it. 1, 2, 3, right there, and out. So that was a quick one. And again, in the overnight where you were looking to sell, would have been based off of this, right? And again, it's fine. That would have been a profit target area. So you're out here, right? Again, 50% level, right? That could have been your overnight short. And again, this nice little drop down into that gap brought us right back up again. So, yeah. So your target is out. And again, are we taking this one short? Not really. I mean, you've already had what? Really 3 hits from that same level. So, but you are out of your trade from the open. So that one is done. And then Russell, yeah, Russell, we talked about this little level here. 1, 2, 3, and 4 is what broke it. Actually, Russell could be taken short. Russell looks like it's in kind of more of a short scenario here right now. Right, not the cleanest. I mean, we typically like to have at least a clean candle drop, but yeah, target of 1986. Wonder if this one again. We're looking for the next real opportunity down here at 1930. It's about 45 pips. That's quite a big drop, but we'll see. We'll see. So we'll take this one off. Here's actually a question I have for Russell. Let me see. Where is our? Look at that. So, and I think I mentioned this earlier with Nadex. No, it would have been earlier. If that is our bottom, if our bottom is technically in, look where we show up right at that 50. There is that level sitting right there. So that could be an area to watch out for if that's actually the bottom. So, but I think we do test that one. I think the Russell is now fighting the NQ for the weakest out there. I think the Russell starts to accelerate again. Supply chain not good for the Russell. Rising interest rates not good for the Russell. Oil down is good for the Russell, right? Although oil is back up to 150, so it looks like oil is starting to push up a little bit more. So, not bad. Let's see if there's any big headlines. Oh, they've paused peace talks for till tomorrow. Let's see. A technical pause for additional work in the working subgroups and clarification of individual definitions. Huh. That's an interesting statement. A technical pause has been taken in the negotiations until tomorrow for additional work in the working subgroups and clarification of individual definitions. Wow. Interesting. Hmm. Oh, hold on. Did you see that? Yeah, they're already doing it. Oh no, this is the stuff from earlier today. No, we already knew this. This is the one in the New Zealand. Yeah, good luck. Yeah, I love this one. The U.S. will not do anything. Everybody's calling it. Yeah, you can talk a good game, but they're already helping them, and it's not like they're going to tell you. It's whatever. Um, yeah, no additional headlines, so nothing crazy out there. I was trying to see if there was anything else. Just that technical pause. The U.S. is going to impose new sanctions. Great. Blocking investments in fossil fuels, which is okay. They have plenty of it. They don't need more investments. They're already producing plenty. Um, Look at this. The EU government's push to adjust sanctions to ensure EU can still buy oil from Russian oil companies. Look at that. Amazing. Imagine that. Look at that. Hey, we want sanctions and everything except your cash cow, baby. We need that oil. We're addicted. Hook us up. So, yeah, this is kind of funny. I'm telling you, Putin still has the button. He doesn't need nukes. He's got oil, you know? How dare you? We're going to crush your nation if you don't sell us oil, right? It's not about nukes anymore. It's about the oil. Such hypocrites. Ugh, drives me crazy. All right, so that's it for today. Like I said, again, yen is holding firm right now. Dollar's kind of doing its thing. Indices are struggling a little bit now, even though the VIX is down. Oil is again taking a big hit, although it's pulling back a little bit. Like I said, this is like no, we still need your oil. We still need it. Again, gold chopping, silver chopping, yeah, natural gas chopping. A lot of chops, a lot of chop. And again, Monday with no real lack of news. But I think tonight, 8:30. Go ahead, but I'd say set yourself an alarm or something like that for 8 o'clock tonight. Kind of see what the Aussie's doing. I think there's going to be some decent setups tonight. I know you guys love trading the Aussie at night. I think it's a great way to do it. I apologize for yawning. This time zone change thing is killing me with being sick. So with that, let me draw. Where is it? Where is it? Let's pull this in. So I decided to do a. There we go. Decided to do a 50 chip today, obviously, because I missed Thursday, Friday, because I was sick, and I do apologize for that. It was pretty rough trying to go through just the Nadex presentation. I was hurting bad. I was like, all right, I'm going to bed. See ya. Um, so it's 50. Now, Ernest did win the last one. So Ernest is going for 100 today. Everybody else is going for 50. Um, but yeah, we'll do 50 today, 50 Wednesday, which is our normal, and 50 on Thursday to make up for it. So you guys can, kind of stay in there. So with that said, let's go ahead and close it down. And the winner of today's drawing is, let's see, what is it? Neuro looks like he's stacking it big. Briggs is stacking it big. Ernest only went in one extra today, even though he's on a double. Remember, Marina had a win last week as well. So winner of today's drawing is Neuro. Look at that. Neuro gets in there. Let's see. So Neuro risk 20 to make 50. Not too bad. Not too bad. So we'll give Neuro his 50 chips. Where is Neuro? Where is Neuro? Let's give Neuro his 50. So means Neuro will be going for 100 on Wednesday, and everybody else is 50. So yeah, Neuro is like, yeah, I'm right on your butt, buddy. I'm right on your butt. So we'll see how it goes. All right, guys, I'm out of here. If you guys need anything, shoot me a message on Discord. I'm trying to play catch up from 2 days of being sick and basically doing nothing but sleeping. So I will be at the computer. If you have any questions, shoot me a message. If not, I will catch you guys tomorrow. Take care.